What should be the story is the boys stepping up for Benji Marshall for the first time in an intense environment. I've spoken on the podcast in previous episodes about how, some weeks they show up, but it seems to be only when the other team's emotions, aren't really high. Whenever there's an intense environment like there was with, the Spoon Bowl and a couple of other games that can't quite remember, but like the Melbourne game, when other teams show up with intensity, we haven't really been able to match them. But it seemed like this time the boys actually really were able to lift. They found that extra gear, which is really important. It's a really important development in the coaching career of Benji Marshall to be able to demonstrate that he can get that out of the players and also that the playing group themselves are capable of it. And now, I don't think that there's any doubt that the return of Jurien Buller played a part, the return of Samuela Fainu played a part. But I want to talk about the man of the match, Middle Eastern man himself, Adam Dewey, who had an absolute ripper at halfback. Now, most people listening here are pretty devoted West Tigers faithful listeners, so you probably remember that I actually said I think that we should be playing Dewey at 7, and I think we should be playing Luai at 6, and giving Latu some time in reserve grade to, pick up his necessary skills and develop his game. And like it seems to me that Benji Marshall just, seems to either somebody in the coaching group just listens to the podcast and feeds him tips and pretends they're their opinions, or Benji listens to the podcast, because he went and decided to play that card. Actually, me and one of the boys in the Discord emailed him and literally straight up we said, "Hey, Bench, listen, you got to pick him at 7. Let the man control the team. He'll do it. We need the general kicking. And we need his like generalship, and don't want to burn out Latu. And you know what? When this year, I've said a lot of stuff that a lot of people have disagreed with, and I think once again I'm proven right. You guys should all learn your lessons and stop doubting me. I do know better than you. I know better than most of you. I know better than everyone. So let's talk about the Dogs game, how it progressed. Let's just do a quick walk through the game. Start of the game, terrible. First carry, Terrell May drops the ball. And I know everybody here, just like me, would have been watching that and thinking, holy shit, this is going to be one dark day in the history of the West Tigers. I just thought it was going to be such a miserable afternoon. But the boys hung in there. And not only did they hang in there, they stopped a try. Sam Weller, with a great try saver, got in underneath, I believe it was it Crichton? Carraz got in under Carraz and stopped him from scoring. And then the forward pass prevented another try, and the forwards really got on top of the Bulldogs. And I think last week when we were talking about the game, when I was talking about the game, it was identified as possibly the game plan, right? Because Benji went with the 4 forward bencher initially until he dropped Latu to the bench. There was the 4 forwards on the bench, and he ended up moving Sione Fainu into the starting side. But there was obviously an impetus to beat them through the middle, because on paper their middles are their weakness. They have some pretty fresh-faced players in the middle. And our forwards, especially Twal, I thought, had a great game. Again, Twal is having a really quietly good season, and the forwards really got on top of the Bulldogs. And off the back of that, we were able to go down the other end and score a try through really nice work by Adam Dewey, being driven back and bounced off Sione Fainu, I think it was, who he ricocheted forward and managed to break free, get the ball to Jurien Buller on the right, who delivered on time to Jarrell Skelton, who did really well to brush off the winger there. I think it was Rinakama, and score a try in the corner. And then from there, we put our foots on their throat. We continued to basically just play pretty high percentage. It was obviously the conditions played a part. The Bulldogs kept giving us good field position, but ultimately, yeah, it was the intensity and the want and the desire from the boys that managed to get us that win. I think took the foot off in the second half a bit. Most likely was always going to happen, when the scoreline is what it is at halftime. Geez, it'd be nice if we would stop conceding tries just before halftime. It would be so nice if we would stop doing that, because it's such a massive momentum swing in a game. But obviously, going into halftime, Seraldo's going to put his foot down and try to get something out of his men, and they did have a go, but the conditions were just ill-suited to comeback football, and the Bulldogs are not a side that can score a lot of points anyway. So look, yeah, as Steph said earlier in the chat, Benji outcoached Geraldo. Plain and simple. The game plan was good. It was better. And Luai didn't have the greatest game, but I think he did a job on Lachlan. I think that, getting under Lachlan's skin early was, it quietened him right down. Early on when Lachlan gave away that penalty and Luai was trash talking him, Lockie did not feature really in that game, really at all. He did nearly make a break at one point, but Naden pulled into the ground and that was it. Really, that was all that we really saw from Lachlan Galvin. And, without getting the output from Lachlan Galvin, the Bulldogs, they find it hard to score. They're not an attacking juggernaut. So I know as Tigers fans, it's pretty easy to fall into the pit of despair and, assume that we're going to get run down. But in this game, I kind of always felt we had it in the bag, really, because I felt like once we got that lead, it was going to be really hard, especially in the conditions for a side that's not the best attacking side ever, to actually pull us back and win that game. So look, the question we have to ask is, what does it mean? Was it a flash in the pan or was it something more? And we ask this a lot. We ask it pretty much after every win, but this win definitely felt different. The boys really seemed to be, for lack of a better word, galvanized. I liked Benji's attitude in the press conference and the post game. He seems like they seem really aligned. Like the coach and the players seem really aligned. The playing group seem really aligned. It's probably the most confident that I felt about our prospects for next year, especially if we can keep Dewey. And yeah, that was very strange with Lachlan Galvin pulling his hands away off that offload. And not only that, but also his effort on the last try from Samuel Fainu was very, very weak. It was like, oh. But yeah, standouts, I think man of the match was definitely, without shadow of a doubt, Adam Dewey. Had a fantastic game, had a hand in everything, made all of his tackles. He did a number on kick out. Man. Like, kick out, Adam chopped him down. That was remarkable. If this like Adam Dewey from the last 4 weeks can stick around for the rest of his career, he's a player. He's not a replacement level player. He's a valuable asset, especially if we can truly get him at 400k. The value we're going to get out of that man is outstanding. So I personally would have been making a bigger offer and with longer years based on the source material, based on what I've seen from him. So big shout out to him. Alex Twal continues to demonstrate why he's probably the best value player in the NRL. I think people underestimate his defense. Samuel Fainu, he didn't stand out big on the stats, but the match-winning try, it's the second time that he scored a try in that vein. So the fact that he's actually starting to wind up and run that line is so good because that's so important for a back rower. Samuel also, as I mentioned earlier, had that great try saver at the start of the game. I thought that was Abby Coruscant's best game in a while. I think he deserves his flowers. He made that really good play where he chased down Crichton, leading to that aforementioned dodgy pass that Galvin let roll over the sideline. And obviously he put in that great grubber for the Skelton's second try. I thought Sione Fainu in the back row, I've called for that a little bit. It was the first time I can remember him actually playing out wide. And I thought that was fantastic. I would like to see him play there more. I think he has a lot to offer. He's certainly, of all of our forwards, seems to be the one that is most likely to make a break or put the defense under pressure just from a one-out run. And Jureen Buller returning was a godsend. So thankful to have him back. You can see the whole side just becomes more confident when Jureen Buller's in the team. He might not himself seem to have his hands all over things, but they play a different brand. You saw that kick through for him to chase. They're more willing to put up bombs because they know Dream chases them, and he obviously is the fastest player in the team, as you saw from that break that Dewey made that he got away to Jareem and scored that long range try. He's like our only long range try threat aside from Adam. So it seems. I think we should be looking towards the 2028 LA games as Adam Dewey is potentially in the 100-meter relay team with Gout. I think we need him to anchor the team there to have any chance of a medal. All right, that's the wrap of the game.